Welcome to Markets Today and welcome to the day of trading when records tumbled by the wayside, as it were, and metal index of all was the one that led the markets to these all-time highs. Hi, Sonia.
Hi, Lata. We, make no mistake, it has been a global risk on because of the surprise rate cut that we got from China, and that's really what spurred global markets, and ours was in tandem with that. But let's take our viewers to all the top headlines. Yet another record-breaking run on Dalal Street. The Nifty closed at 85.30 for the first time ever after hitting a high of 85.34 midday. The SENSEX ended the day at 28,500.
Metal stocks rally after a surprise rate cut from the People's Bank of China. JSPL, Hindalco and Tata Steel have each rallied over 4%.
And another heavyweight stock action, ICICI Bank hit a fresh record high, joins the 2 lakh crore market cap club, while HDFC Bank, Lupin and Infosys also hit fresh records today.
And here are the experts that we have lined up on the show for you. It's a fairly starry lineup. Abby Cohen of Goldman Sachs will give us her take on global markets. Manishi Ray Chaudhary of BNP Paribas and Manish Gunwani of ICICI Prudential, 2 stalwarts, will be here to tell us how they are reading the current market setup. And of course, Sudarshan Sukhani will join in for a technical chat as usual.
All right, straight to the day's trading action then. What a great day it was for the market. So the uptrend that we saw last week continued into today, and the Nifty conquered that 85.30 mark, as you can see on your screen. It was a global risk on. You could see it in the metal space. Post the China rate cut that came in, the metal stocks were the ones that rallied the most. However, interestingly, mid-caps underperformed today. So perhaps, the run that we saw last week has come to an end for mid-caps. The market breadth was at 1:2 in favor of decline. Cash market volumes were high today, so that indicated that there was buying, especially in frontliners. So 15,500 crores was the kind of cash market volumes we saw. Straight on to the gainers list then, 3 pockets stood out. You had metals, technology and banks. So JSPL, Hindalco, Tata Steel all higher. In technology, Infosys, HCL Tech and TCS moved with quite a bit of strength. And then you had banks, the favorites of the street, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank and SBI all hitting new highs today. On the losing end, oil and gas and FMCG came in for some profit taking. BPCL, Reliance, ONGC were down. HUL, ITC from FMCG were under pressure as well. And in the mid-cap space, although the mid-cap index underperformed, you did have some gainers in the form of JSW Energy, Crompton Greaves, Gati and SAIL that moved with quite a bit of strength as well. But Lata, good going for the frontliners. There was a good degree of outperformance there.
Oh, absolutely. Taking away from that, and that's always welcome. Just to mention the sectors that you spoke about, clearly SENSEX Metal took away the honors. It has been a rank underperformer for the year. The metal index barely rose by about 12-13% for year to date against 34-35% rise for the SENSEX and the Nifty. So this was a welcome catch up. But you had that element of pro-risk. Realty, for one, did extremely well today. As well, you saw the strange mix of relatively defensive stocks. For instance, IT. You don't often see a day when IT and realty move together, but that was the story today. In banking, there was a very interesting mix. While banks as a sector did well, because heavyweights like ICICI, which have a big weightage in the bank Nifty itself, did well. What you saw within the bank Nifty was, or rather bank Nifty, among the banking sector was stocks like State Bank of Mysore, State Bank of Travancore, State Bank of Bikaner in Jaipur, which ran up for no reason or rhyme, started falling back. And even the private sector, southern-based banks, which ran along with the Uday Kotak story, actually receded a bit. Federal Bank, for instance. But there was some intelligent profit-taking in the mid-cap space. The likes of Ashok Leyland or LIC Housing, which have risen 100% and 200% this year, and even month-to-date showed good gains, were the ones that saw a decent amount of profit-taking. I could put Federal Bank as well in this list. So it was an interesting profit-taking mix as well that you saw in the mid-cap space. I would still think that what went for the market was that this excellent rotation between sectors. Like you had IT and realty doing well. Even if you looked year to date, we have seen a good contribution coming from all sectors. But from here on, it does look like if financials don't support, the market will be in trouble. The financials have very good reason to support because either it is a bank merger, or it is private sector performance, or it is bond market gains, or it is an expectation of rate cut. There are enough reasons. But to keep the flag flying higher, financials will have to continue the good work. They have delivered so far. Let's see if they will deliver hereafter.
All right, today was a good day in that sense then. Financials were the market leaders. But let's get you some expert opinion. Abby Joseph Cohen, one of the best voices in the equity markets of Goldman Sachs, tells CNBC TV 18 that she does not expect the Fed to hike rates for some time. Also, she adds that India and China look most appealing amongst BRICS countries currently. Take a look.
We are very supportive of the decisions that the Federal Reserve has made thus far. Keep in mind that the U.S. economic performance is very different from that of most countries. The U.S. economy is now growing at 3 to 3.5%. This is somewhat above the potential growth rate of the U.S. And a potential growth rate, of course, is driven by factors like growth in the labor force, productivity, and so on. So the U.S. economy is doing well, and we believe that the Federal Reserve is correct that the local economy does not require as much stimulus or as much liquidity as they were previously providing. I would say that right now, India and China look most appealing to us. Obviously, there are a number of significant issues affecting Russia, one of those being the price of energy. One of the most important economic goods, if you will, economic exports for Russia is energy, and that price is down very substantially. Brazil, we think, is looking better than it has. We need, of course, to watch the political and policy developments in there in the coming months.
Right, that's the big lady from the world of stocks. Now for all the action from the futures and options space, let's go across to Nigel D'Souza. Nigel.
Well, with expiry in the offering in the next few trading sessions, today was a very good trading session. Just looking at the options data as well, traders are counting on the level of around 6,450 holding out. That's because the 8,500 put, that one was being written. Remember, the premium is roughly around 40-45 rupees approximately, while the 8,450 put, that one as well was getting written in trade today. Traders looking to eat that premium of around 10 rupees odd. Now, the 8,500 call, traders had bought that particular strike. They were making money. They booked some profits. They took home nearly around 55 rupees. But in case the Nifty gets up and going, they invested a part of that 55 rupees by buying the 8,600 call. The premium more there went from around 6 rupees to around 9 rupees odd. The 8,550 call as well was fairly active in today's trading session. Some of those investors, in fact, they have bigger appetite, so they didn't mind playing nearly around 14 rupees in today's session. And if they bought it at the start of trade, they were making money because we ended up with the premium ending at around 25 rupees approximately. Individual stocks that saw buying interest today, Tata Power was fairly active. That one saw big buying. Well, we did see buying on a couple of these high beta counters. The likes of DLF did see buying, open interest as well swelled up. BHAL as well was on the buying list, and JSPL, after quite a bit, that stock as well did see big buying in today's trade. Even the broader markets, that was replicated because high beta was getting bought into. JSW Energy did end with a gain of close to around 6.5%. Big buying was seen on that counter, but a couple of stocks that were getting sold into in a very, very strong market were the likes of Power Grid as well as Idea Cellular. Both those two stocks were getting sold into. Siemens ahead of its numbers. That stock did come in for a bit of a short covering bounce.
All right, Nigel, we can't let you go so soon. You've also put together some data on how markets have performed since the lows we hit on the 28th of August 2013. So tell us what your research has thrown up.
Well, what a spectacular run it has been. If you just retrace back and look at August 28, 2013, from those lows, the Nifty has gained close to around 67%. The Bank Nifty as well is up roughly around 120%. And the rupee that was sitting at that point of time at around 68.80, it has shown strength. It's strengthened by nearly around $7 approximately. So the rupee as well has appreciated another 10%. And that could be the reason why we have been seeing such strong FII flows. But let's take it on the closing basis. From August 28, 2013, you'll see the Nifty is up more than 60%. The Bank Nifty as well is up close to around 110%. And if you look at it, individual stocks, big gains being seen all around. So BPCL as well as Maruti, both of them have given you big returns. And in terms of of the banking stocks, they have been the big leaders. So Axis Bank, Bank of Baroda, PNB, SBI, all of them have given you big returns, and you put in something like a Kotak Mahindra Bank that has been an outperformer in the last couple of weeks. But if you just look at it in comparison to the other banks, it's been a bit of an underperformer because it's up roughly around 100%. But the big leaders of this rally have been those heavyweight stocks, the likes of L&T, ICICI Bank, as well as HDFC. All of them have taken Nifty to this 8,500 plus mark. The other heavyweights, there have been some underperformers. So you just look at it, Infosys, IDC, as well as Reliance Industries. All of them have been underperformers if you compare it with the Nifty's gain of more than 60%. But the mid-cap and the small-cap space has been on fire. So a few stocks that have given you big returns in excess of around 7 to 800% are the likes of TVS, Sri Chakra. You look at Marks & Pharma, Kitec, CEAT. All of them have given you big returns. And take a look at some of these white goods stocks. Hitachi has given you big returns. IFB Industries as well as Symphony, they've given you big returns. JK Lakshmi Cement as well has given you very strong gains. And if you look at it, Oro Pharma, what a star that stock has been. It's up more than 500%.
Well, on to some stock-specific news. Then Adani Power has bought Avanta Group's subsidiary, Korba West Power, for about 4,200 crore rupees. Pragya Bharadwaj is here with the lowdown of this big deal. Pragya, how will this acquisition benefit Adani Group itself? And looks like the Avanta Group is putting more power assets on the block.
Well, I'm not sure about, how it will benefit them, except the fact that the capacity will increase. But definitely the funding of this deal will be an issue, given the fact that they very recently concluded that deal wherein the company bought Lanco's Udupi plant in Karnataka for about 6,000 odd crores. And a lot of the analysts believe that if this sale does go through of Avanta Group's Korba West Power Plant, then that would mean the debt equity ratio for a company like Adani Power would in fact hit double digits, a level that a lot of the analysts and in fact investors should definitely be very uncomfortable with. But this 4,200 crores which the company would shell out would be for 600 megawatt of installed capacity with an option to expand it in the second phase by another 600 megawatt, and this will be the second major acquisition which the company is doing. This is also a very big value unlocking exercise which Crompton Greaves is undertaking, which holds approximately 23% stake in Avanta Power at this time. We don't know what the debt equity and other components of Korba West Power Plant are, given the fact that Avanta Power is an unlisted company at this point of time. But there could be further benefits that come in for a company like Tata Power ICICI Venture that could look to buy the company's Jhabua Power Plant, which is also based out of Madhya Pradesh. The other important news which came in from Avanta Group is that Avanta Holdings, which is the promoter company in Crompton Greaves, is looking to exit its stake, at least partially, in the consumer durables business, which they are looking to carve out separately. So from that perspective, it could be a significant value unlocking exercise, given the fact that the promoter company is, and this is all reports-based information, that from the existing 32% which they will hold when the company gets listed, they're planning to bring it down to 25%, and further the promoter might look to sell it. We don't have any confirmation on this news. So definitely, a lot of value unlocking exercises taking place at the Avanta Group, including the land sale which they had very recently concluded, and of course, it's an important positive for Adani Power's group, given the fact that their installed capacity does go up.
Well, don't go away, Pragya. The other piece of news you were tracking was about Avanta Group planning to sell its stake in Crompton Greaves' consumer products business. How does that benefit Crompton Greaves? That stock ran up.
Well, this was being speculated for a long time, at least up until now. We had unconfirmed reports on this, and we have to still confirm this from the management. But Avanta Holdings holds 41% stake in Crompton Greaves, and of course, the company is looking to demerge its consumer products division. Consumer business contributes roughly about 40% to Crompton Greaves' overall market cap, and this is the big value driver as far as Crompton Greaves is concerned. Now, what reports indicate is that Crompton Greaves, the listed entity, will continue to hold 25% stake in the consumer durables business as and when it gets listed. And if you reflect the entire promoter holding, as it is in the consumer durables business, then, that would mean that the promoter will hold 32%, which they would eventually want to bring down. A lot of names during the rounds like Hitachi and Havels, of course, denied by managements of all of those companies, but you have to see, when that deal actually concludes. So, that will be another important piece of news which the street will watch out for. Important positive, which is why the stock saw that positive reaction. Back to you.
All right, Pragya, thanks for putting all of that into perspective for us. But let's get back to the markets now. Manishi Ray Chaudhary of BNP Paribas feels that the outperformance by India could be curbed in the near term as valuations now look a little stretched. Take a look.
At the present point in time, there are certain segments of emerging markets that would possibly continue to gain. In the near term, I would see some money flowing into China and Korea. There could also be some movement of flows, the fund flows, into China, which would deprive the other part of emerging markets from what they were getting historically. The extent of outperformance that India has had could be curbed in the near term. Firstly, valuations, if you look at India in relation to the rest of Asia, it's almost at one standard deviation higher, in fact slightly higher than that even, slightly higher than one standard deviation compared to the longer term average premium that India always trades at. So that is a bit of a concern, but there are genuine fundamental reasons behind that. I personally think, as a consequence of what's happening in the rest of Asia, India would likely consolidate at the current levels.
Okay, so it's either India will consolidate or India and China will be the most preferred markets, but everyone still has a kind word to say about the Indian equity markets. On that note, let's take a break. But coming up, Sudarshan Sukani will join in for a talk about the technicals. We also get you some more trading ideas from other experts.